Hey guys, welcome back to the Barney Homestead. My name's Jess Barney. I'm out in the garden today. I'm actually working on some fall cleanup. I decided to grab the camera because I heard this one tip years ago, but I am here to tell you that this tip has made a world of a difference in my soil health. And it actually has to do with what you don't do when you are cleaning up one of your garden beds, whether it's in-ground or raised beds. When I first started gardening years ago, I thought the most important part of gardening was making sure that your beds were clean, that you didn't have any debris laying around, and that I used the best and the healthiest plants. Well, I was mistaken. The most important part of your garden is actually the soil. The soil is where it all starts. Well, what if I told you that this tip doesn't require you to actually spend any more money on adding things like compost or fertilizer to your soil, but you can actually just improve your soil health by not doing this one thing? So when you go to remove your plants, it's really tempting to want to just pull that plant out from the base and rip the whole root system out. Don't do it. Don't do it. The root system of your plant is actually what contributes to the health of your soil. And when you remove the entire root system, you are actually doing more damage to your soil than you think you are. So let's talk a little bit about what happens in the soil when your plants are growing. So we think soil is just this beautiful black dirt and it's just a medium for roots to grow in, and we want to make sure that we're giving it enough water and not letting it dry out and all of that type of stuff. But it actually is a living microorganism, microbiome space where bacteria, fungi, and the roots of your plants actually work together to create their own symbiotic relationship and environment. So when your plant grows, it's going to send roots down into the soil. Those roots actually release food to the microorganisms that are in the soil. The microorganisms are feeding on the roots of your plants, and in turn, those microorganisms release nutrients that your plant can then uptake to make it grow healthier. It also helps to fight off any pathogens that might be in your soil. So this really cool thing happens. Your roots are growing and the microorganisms in the soil start to kind of surround those roots, and they actually create their own little microbiome where it is this symbiotic relationship. It's almost like its own environment between the plant and the microorganisms that are around it. And your plant grows, the roots are feeding the microorganisms in the soil. Your microorganisms then in turn support the plant growth. And it's this beautiful, just again, symbiotic relationship happening underground and you can't even see it. The other thing that the roots of your plants do is they actually create waterways underground. So all those fine little root systems help to almost aerate your soil so that when it rains or when you water, the water can actually penetrate more thoroughly throughout the soil and also be able to be held in the soil for longer. So if you go and just rip that plant out at the base, you grab it at the base and you rip it out, you are destroying all of that amazing, not only life underneath, but that beautiful environment that the plant is helping you create so that they can grow and thrive. You're breaking up all of those waterways and airways that the roots are creating. You're disturbing that microbiome, which you've worked so hard to create and your plant has worked so hard to create, and you're kind of just starting over. So instead of ripping it out, you actually just want to cut your plant off right at the surface of the soil. So I'm going to show you what I have going on with one of my sunflowers that I am about to take out. So I've got my sunflower stalk here. I've pulled off all the branches except what's on the top there, but you can see as we get down here, just how thick this stalk is. I can't even get my fingers around it. It's that big. And if I tried to pull this stalk out by the base of the plant, I would be compromising the integrity of almost all the soil in this bed, because you can imagine a plant with a stalk this thick has a pretty extensive root system. The other thing that happens when you leave the roots in the ground is as they decompose, they are adding organic matter back to your soil. The worms, and again, all of that bacteria in the soil is going to live off of the roots as they decompose. And again, as you're researching soil, you'll find one of the things you hear all the time is, how do you add organic matter? You always want to be adding organic matter back to your soil. The easiest way to do that is to not pull your plants out when you're removing them after they're done with their life cycle. So let's go ahead and remove this sunflower stalk. I need a pretty hefty tool for this job, so I'm actually going to use this saw to saw the plant at the base. So now that I've cut the plant off at the base, at the soil surface level, I am just going to leave what remains of that plant stalk in the soil. And again, over time, over winter here, it is going to decompose. It's going to feed all of the good things in the soil that I want to make sure I'm protecting and giving nutrients to. And then in the spring, when I go to plant in that bed, it's going to have decomposed, and all I need to do is gently wiggle that little stump of sunflower that's left, and it will release from the soil. So you're not having to till the soil, you're not having to dig in the soil, and you're not disturbing that beautiful underground invisible microbiome that is there to support not only the life in the soil, but also the health of your plant. Now, like with anything, there are exceptions to the rule. You can see behind me on my cattle panel trellis, I have a cantaloupe vine that is extremely diseased. It was kind of diseased from the beginning. I probably should have pulled it out a long time ago, but I didn't. And this is the one exception where you would want to pull the entire plant if you have a plant that is severely diseased, especially with something that maybe even is like root rot, something that's diseased even below the surface of your soil. You want to pull that entire plant out because you don't want that disease making a home in your soil. So 9 out of 10 times, you're going to just chop it right at the surface level. But if you do have a plant that is pretty diseased, go ahead and just pull the entire root system out. Chances are, if it's diseased, the root system is probably pretty weak and already decomposed a little bit. And so it's going to come out really, really easily, and you're not going to disturb too much else around it. I hope you enjoyed this quick and simple tip about how you can help protect and maintain the integrity of your soil without having to buy anything additional. No compost added, no amendments added. It's as simple as leaving the root system of your plants in the soil. If you found this tip useful, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.